Hi, my name is Caleb Sensenbauer, and my airport for this assignment for this class, I'm doing the Indianapolis International Airport. The reason why I chose Indianapolis Airport is I grew up about 45 minutes away from the area in a town called Columbus, Indiana, and I love that airport because it's always been a smaller, big airport because you can have lots of different flights, lots of different time that you can travel and stuff, but the airport never felt very stuffy or never felt like it was something that you would get very like claustrophobic with. It's a really nice airport for how kind of small it is, but has lots of different things that I really like about it. The Indy Airport is southwest of Indianapolis. So if you're looking like on a map on Google Maps, as you can see in the picture, the Indianapolis Airport's probably 20 to 30 miles out of downtown Indianapolis, about southwest. So not too far out. There's lots of interstates, lots of ways that you can get there. And it's a great little airport that you can find. There's a lot that goes into the ownership of the Indianapolis Airport. So the Indianapolis Airport is owned by the Indiana Airport Authority or the IAA. They're also in charge of a couple different things in other airports, such as the Indianapolis Metropolitan Airport, the Eagle Creek Airport, and a few other airports that are kind of nearby the area. If it's pretty much any sized public airport, the IAA has a role in that. So the next slide right here is about the leadership of the Indy Airport. So what they have is a couple different things. They have a board of directors, and on the next slide is the senior staff who's like in charge in different ways. But as you look at it, you can see that there's a lot of different roles that people play with that. And so you can see like there's the president, vice president, secretary, and a lot of board members. So what happens is a lot of times these people meet a couple times a year and they discuss different topics of the airport. That can be anything from security and safety, or it can be anything from any issue that the airport might be having, like maybe why baggage claim is too full, or if they need to redo contracts with people. Sometimes that happens. And so that's what their whole point is. The board of directors, they meet a couple times a year whenever they need to. Usually, I think they meet about 8 times a year is last I saw. And it's really important that they do all. So if you keep going on to the leadership at the Indy Airport, you'll actually see some of the same people, but they have different roles on this. So this is the senior leadership. So they're kind of more like the actual like practicality, like they're in charge of certain departments of the airport. So you can see several different roles. So there's like an executive director, and there's a couple others like head of security, finance and treasure, public of human like resources, and all kinds of other things. So you can see that there's a lot of different roles that go into these airports and lots of different things that show what goes into what and why they do. It's kind of cool that you can see what they look like and just see that they're normal people and that they all help the airport work and they're assigned designations, whether that's safety and security or health and food and wellness or just general finances. There's a lot that goes on in the airport and it's kind of cool to see what everybody looks like. So I found part of the master plan of the airport for the Indy Airport. Unfortunately, the most recent one I could find was in 2011. That was their last time that they had officially done one. But in it, I was able to find a couple different phases in some of their plans, and some of their plans included airfield development, landslide development, and capacity enhancements. So they're actually working on expanding the airport as a whole. And ultimately, they were hoping to make a third runway. And with that third runway, they made a couple years later. It was finished in 2014, if I remember right. And they have it parallel to some of the other runways, so that way planes can take off or land. and be a little bit more efficient that way. The Indianapolis Airport is Part 139 certified, which means that it's a Class 1 airport because it meets the requirements according to FAA. And so I found that definition in the Federal Code of Regulations in Part 139.5. And so under that, it says that it means an airport, a Class 1 airport is certificated to serve scheduled operations of large air carrier aircraft that can also serve unscheduled passenger operations of large air carrier aircraft and or scheduled operations of small air carrier aircraft. So that's pretty much just means that it's any airport that can fly pretty much anything from larger planes such as Southwest or Delta to small private planes. So like if you want to like land like your Cessna or whatever, you can land that there too. And another important part of the Indianapolis airport is the airport emergency plan. And I found this in also the Code of Federal Regulations in Part 139.325. And it's really important that all airports have an emergency plan. I wasn't able to find the exact emergency plan for the Indianapolis airport. I'm guessing that was part of a sheet that maybe only certain people have access to, but I found what the general rules and guidelines are for that. And so what I found is that there are at least 9 different things that they have to have, and there can also be a lot more, but there are 9 general ones that include aircraft incidents and accidents, bomb incidents, structural fires, like fires at fuel farms, natural disasters, hazardous material, sabotage, hijack incidents, failure for power, for movement of area lighting, and water rescue situations as appropriate. It's really important that all airports have access to that. Security at the Indianapolis airport is really important as well. They have 2 different security checkpoints, A and B, and so you pretty much just go left or right depending where you need to go. They are Real ID compliant, as are most airports, and they have TSA pre-check. So if you have that and you want to get through really quick, that's nice. I also found that they have ARIA TSA dog that helps do drugs and bomb detection. I found some signatory and grant assurances with the Indy airport, and I won't read all that, but pretty much what happened is in 2021 they were given a grant that gave them $56 million for airfield improvements at the airport, which is a lot of money. Is one of the biggest amounts of money that they've gotten from the FAA to help support their airport. Here is a slide that shows all the revenue and the different things that build up a lot of it. And, there's a whole PDF on this whole section. But if you look at it, there's lots of different things that go into it, from operating costs and expenses to the profit that they make. I found this one from the 2014 to 2015 year. And so if you, that was the most recent one that I was able to find. So you can look at all the breakdown of all those different things that go into all the costs and revenue. The Indy Airport tries to stay green as possible. They have the largest solar farm of any airport property in the world. They have about 183 acres of the Indy Airport is made up of a bunch of solar panels. And the state of Indiana uses aviation quite a bit, and the Indy Airport plays a huge role in that because it's right in the middle of the state. So lots of different carriers and different cargo companies use the Indy Airport to get what they need. Some of the issues that they run into are noise issues, and like most airports, loud noises equal unhappy people. And so there were a lot of different cases where it was too loud, but they decided to do some studies and they decided to change up the times when aircraft can come in, and they had a lot less incidents. At least the last time that I was able to check that, at least today, they only have about 65 incidents a year versus about 15,000 a couple of years ago. And this is all my citations for my slideshow, and I hope you're able to enjoy it and learn a little bit more about the Indianapolis airport.